this is a video on a little bit more about what my work is and how I started. So I am a qualified acupuncturist. So that's a Bachelor of Science degree in acupuncture, because you can get dry needling now, which is, you know, either from your doctor or like a chiropractor or physio. And this is quite good in some ways because it's getting acupuncture out there, so it's getting more known and used. But it's just to be aware that this kind of needling, they're not so trained in the history of the Chinese medicine. So the depth of the emotional and spiritual level of the points. So they're used as sort of trigger points to relax muscles and so relieve pain. So both very good, but as long as the awareness is out there, so because that can overlap of, so we do a 3-year degree level, which goes a lot deeper. So it's just a brief explanation of how acupuncture works. So I've used lots of different ways to sort of explain it to patients. So we've all seen an ECG, so you see where the heart rate does this. So this is the pulse, the electrical pulse, the energy, the chi of the heart and how it's flowing. As an acupuncturist, we are trained to feel the frequency of all the organs in the body, and we do this through the pulse. We can tell the condition of the internal organ system through the tongue, the shape of it and the colour and the coating, and then through questions, you know, how your sleep is, how your bowels, how your emotions, headaches, tummy ache, etc., etc. Putting all this together, we then can see and diagnose if the organ systems are excessive or deficient, keeping it simple. And then our job is to, I see the body when you're on the table as like a circuit board of electricity from different organs, and some are deficient, like I said, and some are excessive, and we are trained to know where the points are to just help the energy flow from one organ system to the other, so then the body runs in harmony, so it's in balance. So instead of being like this way, it's flowing. This yin, that's what the yin and yang symbol is all about. So we can get knocked out, you know, either by what we eat, by an external trauma, internal trauma is emotional food or toxins. This is my son again. So it's rebalancing it. And this can take time or it can be very quick. And that all is dependent on if the problem that's causing it is still going to be there when you leave the treatment. Hence, you know, lifestyle, working patterns, relationships, busyness, it is really difficult. I'm sort of going into how I went on to my next different study, because I was trying to decide why some patients got better quicker than others. And really, a lot of it came down to, well, whether people were ready to change things, whether they could change things, because actually that's quite hard. And also, really, the main thing I found was self-chat, actually, because there is something crazy like, I don't know, 9 billion thoughts we have a day. I'm not very good with these figures, so don't quote me on it, but there's a lot. And the point is what are we saying to ourselves? Now, if you're bullying yourself, basically, or manipulating yourself, which we do, I've been aware that I've done it and I've had to unprogram that, then we are going to put ourselves onto a really low frequency and feel really bad about ourselves. So we can have the most amazing session, healing, treatment, everything. So I, change the frequency, but the main thing that can really influence that is really how we feel. The acupuncture over time does help this. So it's a little bit like this, but it does help if the practitioner is aware of the mind and the patient is aware, and just to bring this all together. That's my point. So I did a lot of studying on NLP. I didn't quite like how the process ended in NLP, just because for me it was too changing of the actual incident that's in the history of the subconscious timeline, and I wanted not to change it, but it was real and I needed it heard. This was in my own journey. So then I studied different therapies of how to work with your self-chat and where it all comes from. Mostly it comes from our 0 to 7 years is our emotional development as a child, and then our 7 to 14 is our mental development. So interestingly enough, someone did explain to me about the front I can't think, vortex of the brain, anyway, I'll leave that word. The front part of the brain actually starts to grow from 7 to 19. So actually we're born just in an emotional state, which is why children are really in the moment. It's actually just born with the subconscious, which is really fascinating. All this stuff fascinates me. But I'll try not to go off track because I'm doing it. Let's go back. So our programming, our emotional programming is really from our 0 to 7 years. So whatever happened in this lifetime, and we'll talk about other lives going back another time maybe, whatever your programming there of your ability to express emotions, how you were taught to express emotions, were you allowed to be expressive, or any things that scared you, whether it's, you know, down to like a spider or down to like serious abuse. All of these things, if they're not experienced properly at that time, they hold in the body. And this is where acupuncture and other deeper therapies can work. And this is what I do. So I use my acupuncture, but I do also use soul retrieval techniques with a combination of NLP. So we go back into the timeline, find where that resonation is, and it's not in the body. Remember, this is the program. We don't feel our emotions in our head, we feel them in our body, and the memory of everything that's happened to us is in our body. So I help and guide people access those feelings in the body, and we can regain the memories, feel them, love them, express them, allow them to come back. Maybe shedding is needed, crying, releasing. Anger often is needed to be expressed, suppressed feelings. And this is also what I do. I do this online with people, and I can actually retract. Sometimes I have psychic abilities. Again, I don't like the labeling so much because, or intuitive, I will often pick up the memories, or the patient will. Either or, it can vary. But I'm very sensitive, as I've had a lot of trauma and stress, so I think that affects the nervous system. So actually I found that's my gift now, that I can help people. So I hope that's explained a little bit about what I do and a little bit about acupuncture. Is there anything else I want to add to that? So I believe that everything we go through holds a different level of emotion. And like I say, if it's not experienced, what it does, it holds in the body. This is where I wanted to go. So you're coming from the inside out. So your experience as the soul then has that trapped emotion, and then that is at the depth of every physical condition that we hold. So I do have a lot of belief that shoulder pains, head pains, knee pains, back pains, diabetes, digestion issues, they all link to a root emotional problem. For example, so digestive issues, I suffer for quite a lot of physical things as well. So that is about letting go of your shit, literally. And what else? So digestion things is about how can you digest stuff that's around you. So to be aware of maybe how you're digesting your own thoughts, how you're digesting a relationship, how you're digesting your job, the situation. And so I do believe also that is the reason why we've got a lot of allergies, actually, because we've kind of had enough of digesting a lot of the toxic crap we're taking in our heads, actually. A lot with politics and TV and adverts, and there's a lot of mind games and things, and I think that is a physical condition of us saying we've had enough. But yeah, I could go into that a bit more, but another video. So I hope that's just, explained a little bit. I can do body work, physical work, and then when I do my online work, we normally go into the emotion that's trapped in the body, and then when that patient's ready, we can go further into the event or the soul, the trapped event that happened. And it's magic, it really is magic. And this is what I've been through and done in my last 5 years, and it's transformational. So yeah, I hope that explains a little bit more about what I do. Thank you.